Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Isles in Georgia and Jekyll Island right here on the beautiful coast. My name is Roger Hayes. I'm the Director of Law Enforcement Services for the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and I'm proud to represent these men and women behind me today as we kick off the deadliest time of the year, the 100 Days of Summer Heat in Georgia. As you know, the 100 Days of Summer Heat begins at Memorial Day and runs all the way through Labor Day. We're here today to plead our case. We're here to ask you to do several things. Number one is wear your seatbelt. We've got several speakers today that will help bring another message to you as well. And it's my honor now to introduce the Director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Mr. Alan Poole.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Let me first start off by saying good morning. I want to thank the Jekyll Island Authority for allowing us to be here today. I want to thank these men and women that are standing behind me today. Without them, we could not do our job. Our local, state, and law enforcement officers, they make it easier for us to do our job, and they should be commended for the job that they do. 2020 was one of the most unusual years that we have ever faced in this generation. Way back in 1918, we went through something similar to this, which was the pandemic in 1918, but we persevered and we came through it. I reflect back just a minute to think about, I know you guys should remember Hi-Yo Silver and the Lone Ranger. A lot of you don't know that show, it survived on TV for 8 years. But you know, going through this 2020 pandemic, when you were all masked up, we could not see family and friends. And yes, I believe that the year we just gone through, to me, was as long as the 8 years that the Lone Ranger ran on TV. But we've coming through it. Thank God we're coming through it. But today, the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, we want all of you all to know that we appreciate what you do. Everyone is looking forward to the holiday season, the kickoff of the 100 Days of Summer, and we'll be out there working. We'll be out there preventing accidents, crashes, and fatalities. When you get into your vehicle, make sure that every passenger in your vehicle puts on a seat belt. And make sure that every child that's under the age of 8 is in a prescribed and a properly installed safety seat. Georgia law requires this to happen. Seatbelt saves lives. We know that. We have the data to prove it, backed up the National Highway Safety Institute. These officers here today, they know that seatbelt saves lives. In fact, several of them wouldn't be here with us today if they had not been wearing their seatbelts. These officers had no warning that they were going to be in a serious crash, but we are thankful today that they took the time to buckle up their seatbelt. They will all continue to be on the road because they buckled up that seatbelt. And as we open up this weekend, we want to make sure that you buckle up, you follow the speed limit, you try not to distract driving, pay attention when you're behind the wheel of a vehicle, and never, never get behind the wheel of a vehicle if you're impaired. If you got a friend or supposed to have a friend and you've been drinking or doing anything to impair your ability to drive, make sure that that friend take the keys. Take the keys from that individual. Data shows that almost 3 out of every 4 people in the United States are currently wearing their seat belts properly. And it prevents serious injuries. All the safeties that we now have in vehicles today, last week myself and the deputy director, we went over to Audi and we participated in a technological advancement. And yes, technology is improving the way we drive vehicles, but it's you're the operator. You're the ones that's got to get behind the wheel, and you've got to stay focused, and you've got to buckle that seat belt, and you've got to obey the law and drive the speed limit. Memorial Day is the time for all of us, friends and families. We want to make sure that we enjoy the holidays of the summer. And from all of us, from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, we want to ask you and we want to encourage you, please buckle your seatbelt, observe the speed limit, put your cell phone down, and please never get behind the wheel of a vehicle. And we at the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, on behalf of Governor Brian Kemp, we want to thank you for observing the laws here in Georgia, and we want to give a big shout out to the men and women that put this uniform on every day to make sure that these laws are carried out. So once again, thank you from myself, the entire GOHS family, and Governor Brian Kemp. Thank you. And now we're going to hear from Lieutenant Maurice Raines of the Georgia State Patrol.
Good morning. On behalf of Colonel Christopher Wright and the entire Georgia State Patrol, we are honored to partner with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and local law enforcement across the state of Georgia as we go into the 100 days of summer heat. Very simple. It's the beginning of summer. We want you to be safe. We want you to do your part. Our partners that are here today to express to you that even if you decide not to be safe, we're going to help you become safe. The first thing we want to ask you to do is put down the cell phone. Stop texting while driving, because we don't want to respond to your text with an ambulance or law enforcement. So we ask the motoring public to put the cell phone down and drive the car. We also ask that you slow down. Be late. Show up late. At least you will arrive. But if you take a chance with speed, you could take your life or someone else's life. And we do ask that you buckle up. It just may save your life. And kids being buckled in a car seat means this. That's valuable cargo that you ought to want to protect. You say you love them. Show them that you love them by making sure that they're in their car seats. And want you to know that we will be out. We will be out in force. If you decide to drink and drive, we're going to take you to the house. It's just not going to be your house. We're going to take you to our house to make sure that you don't endanger others by being impaired. And not only that, again, we are grateful to partner with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and we're also grateful to partner with all of these local agencies that are here to let you know that, yes, it is the deadliest of the year for law enforcement across this country, but we do ask you to help us help you make your summer safe over these 100 days of summer heat in this state and across this country. Thank you. And at this time, I introduce Paul Harrison, the coordinator for this area.
So we've heard Lieutenant Raines about enforcement. And you asked, why do these men and women behind me decide not to go on vacation with their families and work from Memorial Day to Labor Day every year to go out and try to keep the road safe for everybody? These events that we see on a daily basis affect us personally, and we got a few people that's going to come up right now and tell you a couple of those stories, all right? So the first is Sergeant Brandon Farmer from the Newton County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, my name is Deputy Farmer with the Newton County Sheriff's Office. It's located in Covington, Newton County. I've worked there for approximately 3 years, and I have 6 years of law enforcement experience. In February 2003, two of my friends and I were hanging out at a house when we all decided to go to the store for sports drinks. We all hopped in my 1983 GMC Sierra Classic that had a bench seat, so y'all had to sit 3 in a row. When we were headed down the road, an object fell into the floorboard, so we stopped to pick the item up. Before I started driving again, I made sure to put my seatbelt on, but my other two friends did not. As I began driving down the road, I noticed two sets of headlights, but one of them were in my lane. We were in a curve as well, so I tried to drive into the ditch to avoid the vehicle in my lane. But I hit my rear quarter panel on the driver's side, then spun my rear end around, and I crashed head on with another truck. I remember waking up with the truck on fire and somebody trying to pull me out. When I looked into the left, I saw one of my friends still unconscious and pinned, and the other one was ejected and lying on the ground unresponsive. My two friends were taken to a hospital where I was the only survivor of the vehicle. I suffered physically and mentally for months before recovery, which will never be a full recovery. The car in my lane was trying to pass the driver because he was all over the road. The driver of the truck was found to be DUI. Today I do my job to save others from what can be prevented, and today is evidence that seatbelts do save lives. I do my job so I don't have to go to someone's parents or siblings and tell them their loved ones that they're dead and not coming home. I do my job in hopes of making my community safer, and I thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for all that you do.
At this time, Corporal Chris Herrick with the Crisp County SO wants to share a few words with you about a personal experience that he had.
Good morning. I'm Corporal Chris Herrick with the Crisp County Sheriff's Office. I've been employed there for about 6 years. Previous to that, with the Cordele Police Department for 9.5 years. In October 2008, about 10:30, 11 o'clock one evening, I was involved assisting a Crisp County deputy with a pursuit of a suspected impaired driver northbound on Highway 41, leaving the city limits of Cordele. There's a good bit of distance between me and the deputy, just trying to stay safe. At which point another driver, which was later determined to be impaired, actually pulled out between me and the deputy, forcing me to hit the median of the highway. When I hit the median, I actually vaulted over the top of the violator's car, which was a Cadillac. And when I came to land, I came into the opposite lane of traffic, almost hit a Dooley County ambulance head on that was transporting a patient to Crisp Regional. After the investigation was said and done, everybody was caught and arrested that day. Between Georgia State Patrol and the insurance companies looking at my vehicle, I was in a Crown Vic at the time. They determined had I not been wearing my seatbelt, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. Once they looked at everything, when I landed, the body of the Crown Vic had actually been shifted forward on the frame 3.5 to 4 inches. They had never seen anything like that before, and they just knew that the force of the impact, I would have been ejected had I not been wearing my seatbelt and would not have been able to maintain control of the vehicle after I landed. With that being a personal experience of mine, it's something I try to share every opportunity I get to enforce seatbelt laws and just educate the public on the safety, and just the overall, just being able to wear your seatbelt to stand here and be able to talk to you and be with your family, especially during this time of year, and just impart that message to whoever I can whenever I can. Thank you.
Now at this time, Corporal Chris Hall from the Hall County SO.
Good morning, I'm Chris Hall from the Habersham County Sheriff's Office Heat Unit. On April 13th of this year, I responded to a 2-vehicle crash on Georgia 15 in Habersham County. Georgia 15 is a major 4-lane with a 65-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's an artery between Atlanta and Western Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. Dodge Durango was traveling southbound. It was a family of 6, 2 adults and 4 children, all under the age of 5. Chevy pickup truck, left-hand turn in front of them. The Durango hit the Chevy pickup truck. There were no brake marks, so we estimate probably 65 miles per hour. The driver of the Chevy pickup truck was partially ejected, sustained some broken bones, and was transported to the hospital. Everybody in the Durango survived with just minor injuries, all because they were wearing their seatbelts, including the children. All the children were properly buckled in their seatbelts, child safety seats, and they were properly installed. That's just a testament to the fact that seatbelts do save lives, and they did not end up as another statistic. Today, we're surrounded by law enforcement with one single goal: lives. Thanks to the education and enforcement efforts that these folks do out here every day, people are being saved on Georgia roadways. That's why we're here. We're here to get that message out, that seatbelts save lives, driving the speed limit saves lives, getting DUI drivers off the road saves lives. We urge those traveling on our roadways to buckle up, slow down, put the phone down, and not drive impaired. If not, you're going to find one of us in the rearview mirror, and we'll handle the problem. Thanks.
So you've heard from the 3 deputies. They told you their personal stories. It's what drives many of these men and women that are behind me right here today. And we're here on the coast in Georgia today talking about putting your seatbelt on. But I want you to know, not just here on the coast of Georgia, but in the mountains of Georgia and the metropolitan areas of Georgia and the rural areas of Georgia, these men and women will be out issuing seatbelt citations through this whole period. If you're drinking and driving, you're going to go to jail. That's just all there is to it. You've heard the importance. If you go over the trailer over here we have behind us, that trailer, the deputy that tells the story that he never wore a seatbelt, got in a chase and put a seatbelt on. He walked away from that crash. He walked away from that crash because he had a seatbelt on. It's the importance. 20% of people that get ejected from vehicles survive, 20%. That means 80% do not. Put on your seatbelt, because if you don't have your seatbelt on during the 100 days of summer heat, you're going to get introduced to one of my friends and you're not going to like the outcome.